Thank you, as usual, for making the time. You know, we only do this once a month usually, and so an hour and a half and once a month is not a lot of time, but I know how busy you all are because I spend way too much time with you guys. So, you know, even though it doesn't seem like it a lot, I know it is. But I hope it's beneficial to you. What we're going to go through today came out of my vacation, basically. I tried to shut my brain down for as long as I could, not think about tennis. You know, when you rock up on vacation, you're pretty burnt out. And so I tried not to think for a week and a half, and then one night I went to bed and I decided to open up my brain to tennis again. I don't even remember how it started. What it turned into was writing in my phone till 5 in the morning. And a common theme that most of you here know, and maybe all of you know, is we just try and get better constantly. You know, we don't rest on our laurels, and when things are going well, accept that everything's going to be great, and we drop our focus, that we're always trying to constantly improve, but very, very small amounts, right? I think if you try and go for too much, it can get a little overwhelming. So, you know, we say 1% every day. We try and get a little bit better. And so this has something to do with that. You know, when I thought about how we're going to improve, I knew that video analysis had to be part of it. You know, just getting stuff on video. And I thank Chris for being a part of that. And I knew that we all had to get on the same page with the technique. So, you know, so we went over that technical video last time. And I got some great feedback on that, and we're going and making some revisions. And today is very much about that as well. And I thought to myself, okay, that's how the mind started going. But I really thought, you know, it'd be interesting if we had a coaching system, right? And I don't know exactly how it's going to pan out. I knew that because my son is 11, and I deal with kids that are going off to college, and I deal with some pros, I felt very, very confident in that age group, from 11 to say 20, 25. And out of that has come this. As I said, I want it to be a coaching system. So not only are we on the same page with the technique, but we're on the same page with the drills that we're doing as well. Because let's be honest, once you're done with technique, and James and Claudia work with a lot of our young kids, and once you're done with the technique and you're pretty happy with that, then what comes next? Okay? But I do want to kind of start with that age group where we are working a lot on technique. And there was a quote I heard recently that I want to share with you guys because I thought it was pretty interesting. I was at the hard courts, and Asia's 12 and under national coach was there. His name's Richard Ashby. He's a lovely guy. And I've known him for many, many years. Let's see, that's nearly 15 years I've known him. And he's looking around. He goes, you know what, Tim's funny about this? And I said, what? He says, they all play exactly the same as they did when they were 12. They're just better. And that doesn't sound like much of a statement when you think about it, you know? But I went back and I was like, well, it's kind of a weird thing to say, but I thought about it. And what it made me think is maybe most of those players had what they had when they were 12, and then they got bigger and stronger and better in that regard. And what it made me think is maybe we need to expose our young kids to as much of the game as possible when they're young, right? Even something as complex as a backhand smash like that. And so, you know, immediately I went home. Fortunately, I'm very lucky to have an 11-year-old son that's in that age group, which is kind of at the beginning of that. And we hadn't done much transition at the time. You know, we'd been getting to work on a lot of stuff that was on here. And so we got on the transition, and it was amazing how fast he picked this up, right? And most of you guys, a lot of you are far more experienced than me. They're probably like sponges at that age, you know? I'm not saying that they all are. Obviously, we have kids that are obviously not that skilled, and it's going to be much harder for them. Let's assume we've got a decent athlete that's pretty skilled with their racket. If we expose it to them, you know, hopefully it'll sink in. And I mean, I just couldn't believe how quickly Dylan got at the transition game with a very, very small amount of time. But so that's what this is the beginning of a system, and I really want your guys' feedback. This is our system. This is not my system at all. The success of this place and Meadows and Vegas Tennis Management has always been the team. I say that every single time. One man can only do so much, but as a team, we have done extraordinary things, things that I'm very proud of, things that I never even imagined in my head when Ryan and I were thinking about, you know, this in the first place. So while it may have started in my brain, I want us to all be shareholders in this system. And that goes with the technical stuff too, because I know some of you are far better technical coaches than I am. And so it was great that you gave me some feedback and we were able to put that in the video. But let's go ahead and get started. Where's Paddy and JL? So the first thing I put on there is consistency, guys. And the reason I put it on there first, I did, in my mind, have this in sequence, but I had to go out of sequence to fit it on the pages. But say you've got, my son would be in that category, 11 years old, 10 years old, 9 years old, and you've got to work a lot of technique with those guys, right? That's the age group you've got to work a lot of technique. But let's be honest, if you can't put the ball in play and you don't have good skills with the ball, it doesn't matter how good your technique is. And I know that a lot of you have seen those kids that you can tell they've had a million private lessons and they are so concerned with their technique and they literally can't hit the backside of a button. They lose every match and the parents sitting there scratching their head. The kid, you know, doesn't understand what's going on because he's had a million lessons. The coach is crying. You've seen it, right? But their swings are absolutely beautiful. I'm a little bit of the opposite, right? Yes, technique's important. I get it, but that's not what wins matches. So Dylan's, we've done some technical work, not a lot. For me, it's more about what you can do with the ball, right? And so if you have a young kid, I always start out with consistency drills, right? And it's going to look something like this. So I'll follow it along here. So guys, I like working in the half court to give them less room. That way they can't be spraying all over the place. Guys, let's go service box, continental grip, give me 20 in a row. So let's pretend like Paddy's me, I'm the coach. JL's the student. He's got to get, and try and alternate him, Paddy. So there's 2 for JL, 3, you know, working on those racket skills. 5, 6, 7. Okay, perfect, guys. Now, so that's on there, that's the first one. Something to add in there though, one that I really like, guys, I'm just gonna go off the script a little bit, is one where JL chips comes the net, hits a volley, and then he backs up, lets the ball bounce, and he hits it again. I do this one a lot with Dylan, and the reason I like it is because there's a lot of trips to net, a lot of split steps, a lot of transition, a lot of underspin. So let's just show that real quick. JL, come in off the feet, hit a split. Now let the next one bounce, go back, let it bounce, stay there, stay there, stay there, stay there, and back in again. In you come, split, go back, hit there, stay there. Let's do 5 of them. In you go. All right, very good. So that's another way to do it if you want to switch it up. Okay, now come over the ball, get me 10 in a row. Top spin, short court, has to be in the service box. There's 1. Now as the coach, I am trying to make him hit forehands and backhands. What you'll notice is the players will try and go to their favorite shot all the time and be running around, but that's not what we're trying to get. We're trying to get them to get shape and control their speed and spin on both sides. Okay, good job, little JL. You're doing, this kid's pretty good. Is this your student, James? All right, so you got 10. Now go back inside the baseline. Now it's sumo drill. You are not, stay in the half court, JL, with the alley. Stay in the half court. Not allowed behind the baseline. Got to be in front. Get me 10 in a row. Now this one's obviously for taking the ball, confidence taking the ball early. And it's also for absorbing because, you know, there's going to be a lot of times like that one where the ball's on him quick. Right? 4. 5. I with Dylan, and I don't know whether my son, he tends to be pretty cerebral, but I like to explain to kids what we're trying to get out of each one, right? So that they're not just hitting balls that we're like, okay, here's what we're trying to get out of it. Okay, 10, behind the baseline now.
Are we hitting, what percentage are we making the kids hit?
70%. Yep. Now this one here,
About 40.
yeah, I know, they're just doing a demo. This one here, I tell Dylan, I want him, or my student, I want him to do as many close stance ground strokes as possible and get 10 in a row. So really looking to step in. You go behind the baseline, but be looking to step in as much as possible. The ball's coming, because we're doing half court and the ball's coming at him, there's not much time for open stance now. And I don't know what you guys think, but I think the open stance is starting to be abused. It's starting to be abused with almost every shot. I personally think that a close stance ground stroke is still the best way to hit a tennis ball. But I may be a little old school. JL is doing a great job of that.
You got kids in position to tell them to get close hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great job, JL. You're doing great. Okay, cross. Guys, now we're going cross courts, okay? When the kids go cross court, I'll let them hit one inside shot, but they cannot be two in a row. So if he hits a forehand, the next one has to be a backhand. Okay? Let's go cross. Now, I tell them here, because we're going cross court, they're going to do a combination of closed stance and open stance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, good. Other side. Let's pretend he got 10. This kid's on fire. Hasn't missed a ball yet. Now, same thing here. You can hit one backhand, but not two in a row. Predominantly forehands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like that one there, you don't want him hitting a forehand off that. He's not going to. So he can just do a backhand, but the next one has to be a forehand. Okay? Backhand slices. As the kids start getting better at these, they start doing it quicker and quicker and quicker, and you're able to work on different things. I like spending the first probably 10, 15 minutes on these drills. All backhand slices, mate. Cross court. Cross, yep. Yep. Trying to get 10 in a row. Right, so we're working on the slice backhand consistency there. Okay, so you'll notice that the ones that I have in red, I think more of that's your younger kids. But remember, we've got to work at the level that the kids are at. So, you know, Naomi, when I first started working with her, she loved tagging every single ball. I went back and started working 10s in a row, just going back to 10 in a row, because she just smacking every ball and had no problem missing. So I wanted to get that foundation of consistency. So we actually went back. And that's the good thing about this, is you can always go back. You know, the stuff in black, I tend to think of kind of, that's your more advanced stuff that you're going to use with your older players. But every once in a while, I'll be doing a drill with them and the mechanics doesn't look good. So then I'll backtrack to maybe a more mechanical drill, and then we'll move forward from there. So you can always back up on these. All right, cross court, every ball past the service line. So obviously now you're working on depth. This is a little bit harder a drill. Probably not for these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good, JL. Okay, good. Let's pretend they got 10. The reason I like sets of 10, guys, is it makes you focus. And the reason I like starting out like this, right? So they've walked on the court and we're counting and we're holding them accountable straight off the bat. So they have to engage straight away. Rather than, I mean, over the years, you start doing a little short court, you roll back to the baseline, you hit a couple groundies. They're 5 to 10 minutes in and they're just cruising mentally. They're not engaged whatsoever. But once you're demanding that we're getting 10 balls in a row, they switch on straight away. And I think that's important, right? That we have a way to make them switch on. So obviously we can do it the other way, okay? Come back this side, JL. Paddy's going to topspin and JL's going to slice, right? So let's just say JL, you've got a student and their slice backhand, you know, when you do slice backhands cross court, they get it like the first time. Well, this would be the next, you know, when they've got to take a topspin ball and then slice it. That's a little bit harder. The funny thing is, guys, like they're rallying right now. Maybe on the lesson today, I've got that I want to work on technically on JL slice backhand. Now, if he can make 10 slice backhands, that's great. He's going to have a lot of confidence. He's going to have a confidence in a match to hit it. The technique's not perfect. I would work on that, right? So, but we're getting this out the way because it's kind of like where the stats came out with the serve +1, return +1. You know, that the point was over in the first 4 shots, and it was really like, okay, this is the most important part of tennis. Well, I think this is the most important part of tennis, you know, when the kids are young, is the skills and being able to do it consistently. All right, let's go the other way. JL, you come over the ball, and Paddy, you slice. Now, guys, if you look at your sheet, one thing I left out was that one guy topspin and one guy slice on the forehand side. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I did the coach slicing and the player top spinning because you've got to be able to hit a top spin off a slice ball on the forehand. But I don't like the idea of encouraging players to hit slice forehands. Do we agree on that, or has someone got a counter argument?
You have to know how to do it. How about if they're on defense? Do we ever work on that? I've seen players
What's that?
on TV where they're on defense and hit that slice.
Well, is that where the mini tennis comes in though?
Okay, I don't know.
The racket skills. No, but this is why I like having the conversation. Is
I know how to do it, but even the backhand slice, it's a lazy shot. You
Right.
do it being lazy.
and that came, you know, was kind of what we discussed before. Haven't really worked on Dylan's slice backhand very much at all till about now. Because I want his first, if you think about it, guys, I want his first move to be for a 2-hand backhand. And then realize, okay, I can't get there. What you don't want is their first move, like if you taught them the topspin and the slice at the same time, their first move could possibly be the slice to be lazy. We don't want that at all. And I think Ruff is a great example. You can see that was done with him because he always goes to 2-hand and then he'll, oh, I have to get up there and slice that ball. But it's pretty much like that all the whole way with him. Now, one drill I really like, guys, I'm very, very big on this drill, is the tempo drill, where I give them a minute and see how many balls they can hit cross court in a minute. And the reason I like this is the way tennis is being played today, they're taking the ball early and they're keeping it much lower over the net, right? And it works on having that good penetrating ball, okay? So I'm gonna time these guys. You ready, boys? So you see on there, and these are mainly junior numbers, 30's decent, 35's good, 40's real good, and the most I've ever heard of is 52.
All of them are 1 minute, right?
All of them are 1 minute. And it's the same rules as what I said with the rallying before, is they can hit one inside shot only, they can't hit 2 in a row, okay? Boys, how many balls you got? I got 2. How many you got? Okay, ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, good JL, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, oh, 36, they're choking, 36, 37, 38, 39, 39. That was pretty darn good, guys. So you can do that with the forehand cross court, the backhand cross court, and the backhand slice, okay? And there's a lot of ways to coach in that. I've had a good time. Dylan really gets into that, right? I think most kids do because it's a competition. And if you're not getting your numbers, it's going to be because they're not taking the ball early enough, which is a great teaching moment, or they're making too many errors, which is a great teaching moment. It's called the tempo drill, because to be good at that, you've got to have the right tempo. You can't be underhitting, you can't be overhitting, which I think is very, very important to our juniors. I think far too many of them go from overhitting to underhitting or vice versa. But find that middle ground, that's very, very difficult to do. So with your kids, you're doing a lot of technique. I would advise starting with those straight away. Now, if, you know, for you guys that don't want to run around or you're on the court 10 hours, that's tricky. But then you'll get someone to do it with you. For you, okay? One of the things I do, if I have a long day, is I'll get my student that I'm finished with to do it with the student that's just coming on, right? I'll get him to do it together, but I'm just going to count the new student's shots. I'm not going to worry about this guy, okay? Just for that 10, 15 minutes so that, you know, you don't drop dead out here. But I think that's very, very important, guys. Okay, so what this is, all we're dealing with today are the skills, I think, that you need to have great ground strokes. And basically the progressions for those particular skills. So obviously one of them's change of direction. Patty, take that basket back. Let me grab some cones. So one thing we want to do is just get kids used to, this is for the young guys, get kids used to changing direction off a live ball. So all I want you to do, hit 2 cross court JL, and then hit the 3rd one down the line. Okay, Patty, you're going to be pretty passive, you know, just consistent. 1, 2, change direction. Now, we can coach that, right? Because that's not a ball we would change direction on. Now, as the coach, I'm not going to hit that ball to him when he's got to change direction. And I think this is, you know, sometimes we got to do the thinking for the kid. And so in this particular drill, I'm going to make sure when he changes direction, I give him a relatively easy ball. So he's changing direction on the right ball without even knowing he's changing direction on it, right?
Do you want me to keep it live after you change it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
So what I do with this one is I want JL to give me, execute this 5 times. I think I've got times 5 here, right? Perfect, so there's 1. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Then we'd switch to the other side. All right, that to me is the first progression we want out of that. The second one, which is the one we do a lot in the academy, is the 2 cross 1 line, and they have to make 6 balls in a row to get a point in the bank. Give me those cones there, Patty. And clear those balls, we're going to be use both sides of the court.
Doesn't sound entertaining.
Yeah. Very similar to the old butterfly drill, I'm sure most of you have done. I kind of like the butterfly, maybe even a little better, but this one's okay too. All right, here we go. JL, you've got to go 2 cross 1 line, 2 cross 1 line, 6 balls in a row to make a point in the bank. 1, 2, change. 3, great. 4, 5, nope, start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, start again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1 point in the bank. Okay, stop the ball, great job. So one thing I really like that Patrick did, that I do too, you know, rally tolerance and having a threshold is very, very important in tennis. So when they miss the ball, you keep the rally going, right? We want that ball going as long as possible. If that can cross the net 40 or 50 times, fantastic. Don't stop the ball and then start again just because they missed. Try and make them hit lots and lots in a row and make them struggle a little bit. That's also a very good drill to follow the ground stroke drills. Like I've done that with Dylan where he's got through the drills I want it quick and we move on to that one. Because that's also rallying and consistency as well. So now I want you to rally cross court with Paddy, and then when you get a good look at the ball, I want you to yell out change before you change direction. Now this is about identifying the right ball now, okay? So we've worked on the skills are there, pretty good, and now we want to work on the shot selection.
Am I keeping it going? If you,
You just keep going cross.
okay, but then after he changes, do you want me to go and go
No,
the other way?
no I don't.
Okay.
Good. See how I yelled out change before he changed direction? Then maybe you'll slow it down and allow them to change pretty early. But that was money, mate. Very good. Okay, let's go. Let's do the other side. Do one more. Do you want both sides? Very nice. Much better that time, right? So what you can do too, depending on the student that you have you have those students that just love points, is you can play the points out. So you go cross court, when they yell out change, they go down the line, you can play it out in the whole court, okay? And then the more advanced one is we're gonna go cross court, and JL, we're gonna go cross court until you hit him through the single sideline, and then you're gonna change. You're gonna go cross court. When you hit him through here, you're gonna change on the next ball. Correct. So we're working on spreading the court a little bit, okay? Yeah, good try. This one's a pretty tricky one. This is what I like to do, you see times 5. This one can take a while. I've nearly spent a whole hour in a lesson with players on this one. Great. And that's the important part, guys. Angles through here, this short one, you tend to get hurt by that because you can't hit the ball fast enough. You come through this area, you can hit it pretty hard, you got your opponent off the court, and you've got a lot of open court to work with, right? So you'll do that 5 times. So that's your change of direction drills, okay? That's one of the skills we need to be able to do on a tennis court. Okay.
I think
Grab
on the change of direction one, it's a little different on the forehand side than it is on the backhand side, where I change quicker off the forehand than I would off the backhand. On the backhand, I think I'd wait for a better, more quality shot before I'd make the change. Realistically, if I'm teaching someone, then off the forehand side, I probably have a little more freedom on which ball I can go line.
That's a very, very good point. That's advanced thinking. And I think the other point that goes along with that is on the backhand side, encourage them to step around and change with the forehand. Right? If I'm coaching Paddy, I don't really want him changing direction with the backhand. I've got no problem with him stepping around doing it with the forehand, but want him to probably stay away from the backhand down the line, I would think. Not that they can't do it, it depends what you're trying to get out of it. Maybe that's what we're working on for that day, that we're actually trying to make his backhand down the line better, so I'm going to tell him, Paddy, I don't want you stepping around today. Or maybe we're getting ready for a tournament and I'm like, okay, mate, we're going backhand to backhand, but look to step around, change direction, as soon as possible. Okay, so another one is obviously your ability to whip the ball, right? And hit with heavy spin. I'll show you a couple things. I've only got the one where I'll show you the one we've got on here.
I think I just stole your water.
Yeah, you did. Let's go.
I'm dying now.
So watch Paddy. You ready?
Hold on, let me.
I'm going backwards. Okay. Are you noticing the way that I'm dropping the ball? I've noticed that a number of you do this wrong. Not on purpose, I just don't think you've really thought about what we're trying to get out of this. To me, I'm trying to drop the ball below the height of the net and I'm trying to make him get the ball up and down. That's what I think we're trying to get out of this drill. Now here's the mistakes that I've seen. It's above the height of the net, right? right? I've also seen coaches drop the ball up here. It's above the height of the net. I'm trying to drop them relatively quickly and as low as I can, basically. Make Paddy get down. Now you can hear he's getting the right sound on that, right? That's what I'm looking for. I think with our young guys, that's a very important drill for the racket head speed. And the one thing I've noticed is the generation of young Americans coming out right now, their racket head speed is by far the best I've seen. I watched Ty Katowski, who won the NCAAs. His racket head speed was outrageous. He played Misha Zariv, and Misha's got pretty slow hands, but he's kind of trying to get you to cough the ball up short so he can come in. Ty's was furious. It looked like rougher. That kid, I think, is going to be pretty good if he can get his head together. But the racket head speed, I think, is really, really important. A lot of the stuff that we do, and this is why I think this is really, really important. With Dylan, when he goes to play a match, I don't really talk much to him other than, you know, okay, here's tactically, if you've got a deep or a hard ball, hit it back deep, and if you've got a little time on the ball, make your opponent move. That's about pretty much it. I remember when he started playing, I said, we're just going to hit second serve to work on your second serve so you don't hit a lot of double faults. That's it. Whatever else he does has been trained before then, right? So if he has good racket head speed during that match, it's because we've done a ton of this drill, right? If he's changing direction well off the right balls, it's because we did a ton of that. I'm not talking about it too much, right? I'm not telling him. And I think this is very beneficial when you go to watch your students play. Look at what they're doing, right? Because I think if you do too much talking, too much telling, I think you've almost got to slide this in there without them really knowing, right? I think that's a very, very important drill, right? Now, the only thing I want to show you is how we get there a little bit. And I know you guys have seen, and you guys that work with younger kids, okay, so if you've got a kid that hits very, very flat, how do we get him to hit spin in the first place, right? Understand that concept. Come up here, Paddy. I want you to hit it down the line, okay? Before the baseline. So what I'm trying to do is make him hit over the high part of the net, get him to understand that I want it before the baseline. And I said, guys, some of the best drills that we have is where they have to do the problem solving, right? I think we as coaches, and I think it comes out of our wanting to please the parents a little too much. We want to talk and give the information too quickly, and I think it hurts our students, right? We got to set up drills to make them. Don't get me wrong, if little Paddy hits 20 of those and he's not even close, I got to step in, right? I got to step in. But so there's one. The other one I like too, go back to the baseline. You actually get the kid to self-feed themselves, and they try and go one bounce back fence with spin, right?
Back fence?
Yeah, one bounce. Little Paddy's not very good at this.
There you go.
Can you work it out? Oh, little Paddy tried to go higher.
Chris Yee, little Chris Yee.
So the reason I wanted to show you that is you've got a kid that's struggling with the low ball one, then you probably need to go backwards and work on that a little bit. But being able to hit with heavy spins is very, very important. Obviously off the low balls, we got to get the ball up and down. Obviously if someone comes in the net, we want to find the feet. We got to be able to get the ball up and down. Absorbing the ball, someone smacked at us. If we can't hit that shot, ball's going to fly on us. It's a very, very important skill, that one. What were you going to say, James?
Coach, should we do that same drill when racket head speed's not good, when we're dropping the ball rapidly on the baseline?
To do this at a really high level, you should actually move with him a little bit to make those angles even more realistic. So, Paddy, wide, deep, short. So this is just alternating. Recover. Good. Now, on a hard court in America, we're not going to do feeds like this. That's very much a clay court feed. We're actually going to feed it pretty low, right? The other thing is, I don't want him backing off the baseline more than a step. It's going to be split, one, bang, and you're back up again, okay? So that's the random version. If I've got Patrick, I want to go, oh, sorry, that was the alternating version. I want to go random, okay? And let's see if he can keep the technique tight. Cross over. Now you notice he was trying to read me there, trying to cut corners. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter how good they are. They start cutting corners and they start getting out of sync and they start getting off balance. You know, it's just the way it is. But not too shabby. So that's why deep short. Okay, obviously random. We want to get to random as fast as possible. The X drill. I think you all know the X drill. Does anyone want to see the X drill? You guys know the X drill? All right, Patty, go jump down the other end. Make sure you've got cones on the court. We should never be doing a drill where they're hitting the targets with no targets on the court. Okay. The other thing is, whenever we do feeding drills, add in the between point ritual. Right. Anytime you can add in that between point ritual, I think it's very, very important. Right. And the things I talk about is the body language, the breathing, and the eyes being down. That's all we really need to address when we're doing a drill, because you've got two scenarios here, right? You can feed the drill, and then Patty can get done, and we can stare at each other like this. How's it going? You ready? Yeah. You can say no, and we can waste time, have dead time, or we can do the drill. I can count out his 30 seconds. He can go into his ritual just like you would in a point. Come back and we do it again. I think it's very, very important that we introduce the between point rituals in our lessons here. And it's going to be on a feeding drill, right? So, this one here, I'm just going to, very simple, I'm going to go deep and short forehands, but Patty has to yell out deep or short before he hits the ball, okay? Because I want to see him recognizing the ball that's coming at him, which I don't see a lot of our kids doing. Okay, you ready, Patty? The bounce. So if you go cross court, if I push you back, I want some height and some depth. Short, I want it low and line. Okay, but I want you to call it before you hit it. Now, one thing I've noticed whenever you do these recognition drills is your best players are going to see it very, very early. When we do this drill rallying, where they have to yell out short, deep, or hold, Chris and Pat are the fastest of anyone that we've had out here, and they're two of our best players. So you guys that are working with young kids, if you've got a young kid that can do this and call it out pretty quick, we probably know we've got something special on our hands there, you know, because they're picking up that ball very, very early. Let's show it on the back end, Patty. So not only are we practicing switching shots from the different positions, but we're recognizing the ball as well. Didn't hear you, mate. Slow getting back up there, brother. Slow getting back up there. Get that leg through, crossover step. There we go. Nope. No one. That was short. By the way, guys, when you're feeding deep, if you're trying to feed them a deep ball, don't worry about missing long. That's a great feed, right? What you got to worry about is missing short. If you miss long, they're getting pushed back, which is what we're trying to get out of the drill. Okay, if you're missing short and you're trying to push them deep, we're not getting what we want out of that drill. Okay, and then what's the last one? Just racket fed X drill. Random. Okay. All right, so obviously that's kind of the basis of our movement. I could probably have the scissors on there as well. Oh, I do have scissors on there later when we get into neutralizing and defense. So now we're going to get on to taking the high ball on the rise, okay? Which a lot of kids, especially the young ones, if they can do this, that's a game changer. And if they can't, they get stuck in a moonball tennis. So, first progression. You are trying to run away, aren't you? I'm just going to feed Patty high balls. Now I want him to hit from an open stance on the forehand. Double front step on the backhand, Patty. You ready? On the rise, mate. Yep. Recover and split. Come forward. Good. Recover and split. Okay, we want to use that one to get them contacting the ball at the right height and getting the right mechanics. Now, I don't know how many of you are paying attention, but did you see how sloppy his recovery in his split step are? That's what I'm talking about. You think at this level that would be ingrained, but it's not. And it's not because he's probably being sloppy on purpose. It's just the way it is. Okay, so that's the first version. Then we do it with the bounce feet. There's a little bit more realistic for your high level players. That's right. He actually does something I see a lot. Do you notice when he hits his forehand, he hits it and gets off the ground with his momentum, but on his backhand, he keeps his foot on the ground? He stops his momentum from going into the shot, right? I see that a lot with kids. Anyone have any idea why that is? You think it's just confidence? It's...
The fact that when you do that with your forehand, you have your non-dominant hand out front, so it helps you to balance. You know, like if you go like stuff like that, holding something gives you to miss the balance.
You might be right.
The problem with the backhand is you have nothing out front, so you are most likely to fall down.
You might be right. But you'll notice that some of the pros love doing this one too. Let's do that again and get off the ground on every shot. Your power is coming from your legs, right? You can just stay relaxed. There we go. Who can tell me why the legs are important on this particular shot? I'm a stickler for that. If I have a young kid, I want them loading and coming off the ground every time. Not because they're jumping, just because of the momentum of the shot. But why is it important? The hips, yeah. But what's going to kill you on a shot like that?
Ball getting too high.
How about slowing your racket head down? Right? You're going in and trying to take this ball off the rise. You're taking away your own time, right? If you don't just go with that swing, you're going to miss your contact point. So what the legs do, if your legs load and you just go, your racket's going to go with it, right? So it's going to prevent you from hesitating when you get scared, right? If they're used to doing a really good job with their legs, under pressure, they're probably going to make that shot. If they're going grounded, which is what I was saying with the backhand, Paddy's backhand, once he keeps this on the ground, he can now slow down here. And that's the kiss of death on that shot, okay? So that's the alternating one. We can also do that random, right? So that's a little bit more realistic. Paddy, let's show them that one real quick. You didn't know you were getting your fitness today, did you? Sure. Okay, here we go.
Oh yeah.
And you notice his recovery and split was horrific. So, good. Very good. So then guys, we're going to take that to live ball, okay? Once you're feeling good about that, we're going to take that to live ball. So, Paddy, let's do that and rally down the middle. Now, coaches, I've found a way that you can do this without expending a lot of energy. I used to do this a lot with my players and I would get very tired. So Paddy, you're on the rise, mate. This also helps me be accurate with my hit. Do you guys see how I bump it to myself? So it helps me slow it down a little bit. It helps him recover, and it helps me. If you're trying to absorb the ball.
Yeah.
We got any questions so far? Yes, JL.
What do you think is the most important when you absorb the hips, like swinging or like not slowing down the run?
For me personally, no tension in my body whatsoever. And seeing the ball hit my racket. Those are the two big things. And it's a great question, and the reason I feel like I'm good at answering that is because I don't play all the time. I noticed that I missed those for those two reasons. I remember we were out the back one time, I jumped in with these scrubs, and they're doing approach shots, and I'm on the baseline as the king, and I literally shank. And then I started like, I don't want to embarrass myself anymore, so what do? I was like, okay, don't worry about moving, don't worry about where the ball goes, just watch it. And so he hit me a bullet and I just watched it and I was like, boom, hit the ball great, crushed him, king of the court, thanks for coming. It's a great story, that one. Yeah, Rob.
When you're hitting the ball on the rise, it's a good miss to miss in the net, right?
Correct.
It's not okay to miss all.
Depends if you're inside the court for sure. And the other, that's a great question, mate, because the other thing I want to bring up about that, there is nothing wrong with giving a step and still taking the ball on the rise. There's nothing wrong with that. That's changed a little bit, I'd say, in the last 5 years. Whenever we gave a step, we wanted to go, spin. But when you got these high loopy balls, they're gonna land deep. You just give a step, you take it on the rise, boom, you're right back up again. Okay? So that's really important, but you're right. Whenever we're inside the baseline, we wanna have the awareness to keep the ball tight to the net. Wherever behind the baseline, we wanna have the awareness that we're a long way from the net, and we probably don't wanna be missing in the net. Could, yep. Depends how much time you got. Okay, neutralizing, defending. Paddy, why don't you take a breather, mate? You took my water, didn't you?
Yeah, I drink your water.
Is it all gone?
Yeah, it's all good.
Freddie, could you run so I grab me a water? Real quick. Yeah, they're on the...
Can I get a couple?
And absorbing is another skill that you've got to need for your ground strokes to be a great tennis player. Okay? Then we've got this, the neutralizing and defending. So I do have these are your balls on the run, guys. Okay? Defending in particular, very, very important, right? If all you've got is offense, AKA Madison Keys, you can only get so far. If all you've got is defense, you can only get so far. The great players have both. Rafa has the most wicked defense you've ever seen, but the guy can step in and hurt you as well. That's why he's a nightmare. Fed plays a little differently. He's got the wicked offense, but when he's moving well, he plays very, very good defense as well. Right, you got to have both. So these are the drills to kind of work on that. Most of you know the hand-fed open stance forehand. I'm going to show you the way I like doing these because I am a little bit particular. Now this is also in the movement section as well, the open stance forehand. Paddy, why don't you come back out, mate? Only because I know you know all the stuff I'm doing. So guys, I use this drill obviously for the open stance forehand, obviously for where they're hitting the ball, but also to work on their split step a little bit. Because I have them use this, and I want them to split step on the outsides of the bucket, right? So they're going to come out here, open stance. When they're hitting the open stance, I'm really looking for the hip to come around, crossover step back behind the bucket, and then you're going to split either side of the bucket, okay? We'll just do 3, mate. You ready? No, you went around. I don't want you to go around. I want you to go behind.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then split either side of the bucket. Split either side of the bucket. Because let's be honest, a lot of the problems we have of players coming off that shot is they come back and they jump in a split step. So it looks like this. They're out here and they come back and they're jumping in their split step. They don't get back and then pop up and do a correct split step. Have you guys seen that with your players? It's brutal. Hate it.
I was doing the snaps drill, the first one. Get around that thing.
Then we have the scissor, guys. All of you may not know this one.
There it is.
It's a bounce feed. I'm trying to rush him. It's an emergency forehand. And he's going to use his legs. He's going to line up like he's going to do an open stance, but he's going to snap across his body. And the important part is also how he recovers. Once he hits the shot, it's one step and he's back. This one, I'm going to have him run around the bucket. And the reason I'm going to have him run around the bucket is this is probably the only shot in the tennis court where you're going to do 2 crossover steps, okay? Because you're a long way out of the court. So if you get him to run, think about running, they're going to do it automatically. Are you ready, mate? Run around. Woo! Now you see that I'm really pressing him on that one, right? Very, very important shot, the running forehand, especially for a guy like Paddy, who's going to hit a lot of forehands from the backhand side. Because if his opponent starts realizing what he's doing, what he's going to do is he's going to drag him out wide first to get into his backhand. And if he can't hit this very, very well, then he's going to struggle with that. Okay, I actually had a player do that against Asia one time. The other thing too, you see how big he hit those? Well, that's all about neutralizing. You're not in a position to attack on that one. So if I'm coaching Pat, I'm making him hit 5 of those in a row. We'll see if he can do it.
Did.
One out of 1. 2 out of 2. 3 out of 3. 4 out of 4. Money ball. Okay, then we'll do the same on the backhand side. Does anyone want to see the backhand side, or can I move on from that? We okay?
Take a break.
So that's where we're isolating the 2 different shots. But bear in mind, especially in the scissor drill, if you give them a bad feed, you don't want them to just do the scissor because you're working on scissors, right? You got to explain to them that we're looking for them to make good decisions. So if the feed's not that great and they can do this one instead, that they want to do that one. But of course, you're trying to get them into this spot, okay? But this next drill here really works on making the decision on which one they're going to hit.
I saved 3 set points in my tournament last week in Cali with that scissor shot.
Is that right?
We were working on that the week before, I believe.
Yeah, we were.
I had 3 forehand winners off that ball.
Did you really?
Just say
That's debilitating.
Huh?
Did you win the match?
Yeah.
And it's all thanks to the scissor.
3 winners in a row off that 6-7.
Right.
All thanks to the scissor, huh?
Scissor.
Going for it or not.
All right, so you guys see I've lined up those 4 balls. So what's going to happen is I'm going to give Paddy a running forehand. He's going to go back and flick the first ball out the way. Then I'm going to give him another running forehand. He's going to run back, and you'll see it's going to gradually get wider and wider and wider. So this is about the decision making of whether he's going to go open stance or he's going to go scissor, right? Because that's the important part, isn't it? And really, he should be making the decision from the ball, right? He should take one look at where he's at and make the decision.
Do you want me to go around it and then flick it?
No, just run back and flick. Okay, you ready? There's your open stance.
That's how you save that man.
Let's show them the backhand version. I like this drill because it's meant, you know, it's physically difficult.
Dodge the ball, you feet.
What's that?
Dodge the ball, you feet.
When did you
Dodge
feed?
You know what? I actually look to see what shot they did beforehand. So if they get there a couple turns like this and I want them to go scissor on the next one, they won't even touch the ball, fed the next one. Do you know what I'm saying? That's where you've got to time it well. Watch those over there, mate. Wait for the what?
Your side.
No. I'm just worried about timing for where he is, right? You've got to use your intuition as tennis players on drills, guys. You guys are all great tennis players. You ready, mate? Start at the ball. Got him. Now, you guys see that? He made the wrong decision. He went open stance and he should have gone scissor, and you see what happened. Not bad. So, that should have been a window into Pat's game right there, right? Is that we can get a little bit better at the running backhand because it was a bit of a mess. And he doesn't mind me saying that. It's the truth. So that right there is, first we isolated the moves, then we isolated the decision making, and then we scrambled the whole thing up, right? This one neutralizing 2 times. I like to start out at 5, and basically I'm ripping balls out of my hand, trying to hit him a ball that he has to neutralize or defend off, right? And he has to make all 5 in a row. Then he gets a break, and he has to make all 5 in a row again to move on to 6. So it's 5 in a row, 2 times in a row. So it's a total of 10 balls.
Where's the break?
It's a 20-second break. It's a 20-second break.
Oh, okay.
Actually, we'll have JL do this one. Come on, JL.
Yeah, let's go. Here we go, JL.
Clear those balls a little bit down there. And guys, what you're looking for too is the way he hits the ball back is the way that you feed the next one. So if they barely get there and they lob the ball short, I run up and I absolutely unload on the shot like you would in a match, right? Like I can hurt him. If he hits a good ball, I'm going to go back and I'm going to loop the ball. I'm still going to try and hurt him. Let's move those balls in the corner, move those cones out of the way. I love this drill because it's working on defense, and it's a tough physical drill, and it's a tough mental drill. Yeah, what Mark said. Whatever you want. I'm going to run you all over the court. Are you ready? 1. Start again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. One, 2. So you see, it's not impossible, but I'm trying to put him in a defensive position almost every feed. One, 2. I'm out of balls. So what he's going to do is get 5 in a row, 2 times in a row. Now what happens, here's some scenarios that happen. I do this for 15 minutes, they don't get it. That's okay. We move on, right? They get 5 in a row and then they get 3 in a row, but they never get the 2 5s in a row. So next time I come back to this drill, we're doing 5. We do it for 2 minutes, they get 5 in a row, 5 in a row, we move on to 6. And they don't get 6. Right? But we know next time we come back to it, we're at 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, right? Apparently some of the Spanish guys can get up in double figures. which is pretty impressive. KJ, what's next on the list? Does anyone not know call the bounce?
We all know call the bounce.
Freddie, Rudy, you guys all know call the bounce? What about call the shot? It's very similar to call the bounce, but rather than in the call the bounce, you're calling whether you're going to go back, forward, or you're going to hold your position. In call the shot, you're going to call where your shot lands in the court. So basically, we're working on shot recognition there, right? Which I don't see a lot of our players having. It's like they hit a shot and they don't really understand the impact of the shot that they've hit. So basically what I do is I set some cones up on the 60-foot line, and if it's going to land before the service line, they call out short. It's going to land between the service line and the 60-foot line, they're going to call out middle. And if it lands beyond that, they're going to call it deep, right? And so we're just rallying up and down the middle, and every time they hit the ball, they're going to call out where the ball's going to land, so that they start thinking about the impact of their shot. What's next, KJ? Spacing one. Guys, very basic drill, very, very important drill, okay? Very simple. You just stand at the net on one side. I'm going to volley back to JL. JL is going to try and be consistent back to me. But this is all about spacing. Not trying to jam yourself in here. Not trying to, get the ball too close to your feet. He's trying to space every shot. You're covering both sides. Get up to that. Sorry. Get there, get there. That's all right, I'm not moving, mate. Sorry. He's actually pretty good at this. The spacing he's pretty good at. So guys, I can't stress enough. They can be consistent at that drill and still not be spacing it that great, right? But you've got to explain to them the only thing we're focused on there is where they are in relation to the ball. Are they getting it in their wheelhouse as much as possible? Or is it in here, out here, lunging here, jamming the feet? Really being disciplined with the way they address every ball. And then, what we got left? I'll try and get done as quick as I can. Okay, the last one, the slice backhand, we talked about that, I think, in the beginning. You've got the hand feed, the racket feed, the 2-cross-1 line, the 2-cross-1 line and the running forehand, and then you're doing it, rallying 10 slices in a row, and then rallying 2-cross-1 line. That's all with the slice backhand, okay? The weapon development, I think, is very, very important. You guys are probably aware of the 2 inside out, 1 inside in running forehand, right? That's probably your first one there. What I want to address is from number 3 down. I'll show you guys that and then we'll be done. So number 3 I like to use working on the kinetic chain, working on the legs, okay? So JL, I'm going to give you a wide forehand, you hit it cross court, and then I'm going to give you an inside out, and I want you to hit it this way. So they're basically hitting cross court on every ball, and we're really working on the lower body on this one. Yes, as much as you can. Okay, but use your legs. Legs. Back, recover. You see he used his feet really well. I think the big thing with this is on the wide ball that they're really utilizing the lower body to hit that cross court. And on the inside out, using a drop step and backpedaling, right? I mean, I'd say 90% of most kids are just going to sidestep around that ball. So not only do you want them doing it correctly, but you want to move them quite a bit, because if they only have to move a little bit, they're going to sidestep anyway, okay? So that's more mechanics there. We're working on the kinetic chain, which is so important to generating power. Next one. So I'm just going to feed him random balls. And JL has to attack to either corner, it doesn't matter. But everything has to be a forehand, okay? It's going to do 6. Good. 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 4, 5. Break. This is where I give them the 20-second break. They work on their between point ritual. I have them come back up again. Now, what I'm looking for in this drill a lot is the trajectory of the ball. You can call this the Pat Kafka drill, right? We want that low ball to the net that's penetrating the court. We don't want a lot of spin on this one. I had a very, very tough time penetrating the court on this when I was young. Took me a long time. Go again, JL. Right, so you use that one there for the movement and the trajectory of the ball, right? Once they can do that, the more realistic version is with the bounce feed. JL will probably find this one easier than he did that one. The bounce feed is more of how it's going to go down in a match. You ready? Same thing with the bounce feed. Now I just tend to do sets of 5 of this with the 20-second breaks and the between point rituals in. Okay, then we have, I'll show you the backhand one first. If you ever really pay close attention to the pros, and the girls may be the exception of the rule, they're not running around forehands to hit backhand. If they're attacking their backhand, it's cross court or down the line. So this one's pretty easy. I'm just going to feed you short backhands, attack here, attack here. I'm looking for body weight into the shot and balance. Keep it, recover and split, low to the net. There it is, that's the one we're looking for. Get a crossover step in, JL. There we go. Great. Very simple. That's pretty much all that goes down on you know, the attack cross or the attack line. Doesn't need to be more complicated than that. Then we can do it with the bounce feed, okay? But what I want to finish with is the combination drills. So JL's strength is his forehand, okay? Actually, I'll start the other way. So now what we're trying to do is make this a 2-shot drill. So I'm going to take JL out wide, you're going to hit to me, I'm going to bump it up in the air and I want you to try and get round and attack with the forehand. You're going to attack with the backhand if I don't hit a good enough shot, but you want to try and attack with the forehand to the cone. Okay, so I'm going to make him hit that neutralizing shot. I'm going to make him hit that neutralizing ball. Pop it up, attack. Great, go back. Flatten it out. Great. Great job. So you can do forehand cross, attack forehand. You can do backhand down the line. Hit the backhand of me, attack with the forehand. Again, that's too good. I'm not that good. Attack with the forehand. Good. Okay? Then we can go backhand cross, attack with the forehand. Great. And then we can go forehand down the line, attack with the forehand. Great job. He's got great feet, this guy. He must be French or something. Too good. Let's get one more in, jail. Great job. Give me a round of applause. Great job. So guys, as far as the skills of hitting ground strokes, I feel like that hits up on all of them. Are there any I've forgotten that you guys think need to be on there? Anything that comes to mind? Those are all the things I think you need to be able to do off the ground to be a great ground stroke player. If you can think of anything, please let me know, because we want this to be as accurate and comprehensive as we possibly can without it being too much. I mean, that's a bit of the worry as we get stuck in the weeds a little bit and we're working on too many things that, too much. That's only the ground strokes. I'm going to be going through this for the serve, the return, the volleys, the transition, overhead, everything, okay? But that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for the extra 11 minutes.